Hello everyone. Welcome to a new series. This series is a hot seat. That's right, the very first of this type for my channel. The first hot seat for this channel. For those of you that don't know, hot seats allow you to play a multiplayer campaign in Medieval 2 Total War. Basically what happens is one player will play their turn, they'll pass that save on to the next player, and they will play their turn, so England will pass the save to France, etc. And in this way you can get like up to 20 players, or you know, however many factions are on the map playing a multiplayer campaign, and that is exactly what we have done. We've got 17 or 18, I think, Total War YouTubers of varying sizes and degrees playing this hot seat. Most importantly, though, you've got LegendofTotalWar, who is a semi-big name in the community. He's actually organized this group and this hot seat that allows us to do this. So everyone just give a quick round of applause to LegendofTotalWar. There you go. Great administration. In addition, we're also playing with the Retrofit Mod, which retrofits, hence the name, obviously, some Kingdoms campaigns features to the vanilla Medieval 2 Total War campaign, the Grand Campaign, and that's what we're playing with right now. What those features are exactly, I can't tell you because I don't really know, to be fair. But you know what, we're just going to jump right in right now. I am playing as the Moors, which in retrospect seems like a bit of a poor choice, actually. I'm kind of regretting it, but you know what, it ought to be fun. That's basically what the choice was there. I was going to play the Moors, a Muslim faction, because I knew they would be interesting and fun, but unfortunately I was like one of the first players to pick a faction. I could have picked any faction, but I decided to go with the Moors. I could have gone with the Egyptians, I could have gone with, you know, the Seljuk Turks, but no, I went with the Moors, who was potentially the weakest of the three Muslim factions, and potentially in the shittiest position. Well, I mean, the Seljuk Turks are immediately facing against the Byzantines, so that's not great. Maybe Egypt. I think Egypt is a little insulated from the rest of Europe, so that's not a big deal. But what I mean is, I'm playing a Muslim faction that historically was pushed out of Iberia during the Reconquista, and that is basically just given casus belli for all the Catholic factions around me to basically form a coalition and declare war on me, and that's pretty much what's happened. Portugal and Spain, from what I understand, are forming a coalition to push me out of the Iberian Peninsula and potentially just wipe me out of the game in the first 10 turns, which would be okay. I relish the challenge, but also I've heard rumors of the Sicilians wanting to sail across and invade like Tunisia, Algiers, Tripoli, etc. Yeah, so it's going to be quite interesting. I feel it prudent just to point out that I cannot edit this video in any way, so any mistakes I make with my speech or whatever, I can't really edit the video. It has to be one long video, just to prove that I'm not cheating, pretty much. And yeah, so I'm just doing this in one take, which is pretty much what I usually do, but I tend to edit out, like, you know, if I'm stuttering or whatever, or I sneeze. I'm just kidding. I'll edit out sneezes. I can edit out audio to the best, but the video it'll just go silent. You'll just look at the campaign map. There will be no audio because I've had to cut it out. And anyway, I hope you understand what I'm saying. There's very minimal editing to this, if any. And that's as a result of just, we have to do a hot seat where we have to prove that we're not cheating. So anyway, what we're going to do first off is, as with all of our campaigns, we're going to take a quick view at what's going on. Diplomatically, no one... Oh, well, yeah, we start neutral with everyone, but it appears that the Milanese have immediately allied with the Venetians, so that's interesting. We are, of course, playing the Moors, who are Islam, and we have a reputation of mixed, which is odd. Here's our faction, capital city of Cordoba. Faction leader Sultan Tahar, who is in Cordoba, I believe, yes. Greatest general is Crown Prince Miswar, who is in Marrakesh right now. We have 3 generals, 2 cities, 2 castles, 4 regions. It's the year 1080, and our victory condition is to, of course, capture Jerusalem as well as Toledo and be the last one standing. So it's interesting. Alliances will be formed. I don't have any going on at the moment. Alliances will be formed, but they will inevitably have to come to an end, basically. So that's that. Here's our family tree. We've got our faction leader, Sultan Tahar in Cordoba, who is 1,000,000 years old. He's 60 years old, married to Gaeta, who is 51. We've got our heir, Crown Prince Miswar, who is 35 in Marrakesh. And his son is apparently Obama. That's just what that looked like out of the corner of my eye. His name is Faraj. And his sister, Zara. He's got a brother named Qasim, who is in Algiers here, who is married to Sahina. Has a daughter named Zizi, apparently. And we have another son named Ayub, who will come of age very soon in the next coming years. Faction rankings. Let's see. All factions, overall ranking. We can't really see what's going on as it is the first turn, but we can already tell that there are many players out there who are above other players just because they start with more shit. Our lists, we've got our military forces. For example, Sultan Tahar in Cordoba has 430 men. Crown Prince Miswar has 460 in Marrakesh. Qasim has 460 in Algiers. And then we've got Captain Kairi, just kind of chilling near the Straits of Gibraltar for some odd reason. We've got Cordoba, Marrakesh, Granada, and Algiers. Granada is the castle that we own in Iberia right now, just southeast of Cordoba. We have some agents. We have an imam in Cordoba. We have a diplomat in Cordoba, and then we have a spy, Hassan Saidi CF in Marrakesh. And that's pretty much all of our shit right now. We don't have a whole lot of troops. I was expecting that we would start with more because we are the Moors, but anyway, unfortunately, I wasn't really paying attention. Or I guess I didn't give a shit when we started this hot seat because I didn't really open diplomacy with like anyone until the hot seat started, pretty much. And in saying that, I should point out that the hot seat actually started March 14th, and each player has 48 hours to do their turn and pass it on. So since we have 17 to 18 players, that is potentially 36 days between the first player's first turn and the first player's second turn. So that's a month per video. So you're not going to be seeing these videos very frequently, unless of course we like crank out the turns like a fucking machine, which I mean is possible, but I don't know if it's really what's happening. But anyway, our very first pressing matter that we've got to contend with, we've received a messenger from Portugal, Reino de Portugal e dos Algarves. Here speaks the King of Portugal to the Moorish Caliph. I give you a chance to leave your lands of Iberia, and I shall grant your men safe passage to your native lands. If you do that, I shall not pursue you for your lands anymore, at least for some terms, or maybe more. Okay, so that's something we have to deal with immediately, and we can see here that the Portuguese player by the name of the Wise Coffin has... This must be all of his forces that are in his capital. I think his capital is here, and if I remember correctly, he actually has a territory over here as well, which is kind of odd. I suppose that's like Aragon and Portugal in like a personal union. I don't really know. But they kind of sandwich Spain in between them, or Castile. No, it's Spain, my mistake. But this must be all of his forces from his capital there, and he has put them in a fort right outside of Cordoba, which is a little awkward. Cordoba is, of course, our capital, and he wants us to vacate Iberia, so we're going to have to pull all of our units out of Cordoba and Granada. And I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. What's going to happen, though, is he's going to roll my defenses, because when it's his next turn, he can just take this half stack and attack my 4 units in Cordoba, and the AI is going to have to defend. So I know the AI is not going to be able to defend with 4 units against half a stack, and that's horrendous. Basically, if you are on the defensive in a hot seat, you are at an immediate disadvantage. You always want to be on the offensive with like as many men as you can get. I should point out, though, in this hot seat, which is a little different than some of them, you have to manually fight every single battle. And that is an issue because you have a maxed turn time of 1 hour. So the maximum length of your video is going to be an hour. So if you have to fight like 5 battles in that time, well, you better be playing them at like 6 times the speed and like really good at just fucking speed demoning it to the extreme. Like just fucking speed running the shit out of it. So Yeah, and that's one of the rules. I should point out that there's many rules to this hot seat. I can't, list them by heart right now, but I will put a link to the rules down below so that you have an understanding of what is going on and the decisions behind what I'm doing. So what's gone on is Portugal wants me to leave Iberia, and I pretty much have no choice but to accept his proposal at this time, because I know that if he were to march in and attack us with hostility, he would just win. He would just roll us so hard, because we've got 4 units in Cordoba and like 2 in Granada, which is barely anything. I don't know how he mustered up that many men in Portugal. I guess they just start with half a stack immediately. Maybe he's got, a garrison in Lisbon or whatever the capital of Portugal is, and then he's got a little side army here and he just merged the 2, and that's what it is. But that's too much pressure for me to deal with, so I'm probably going to have to pull out of Iberia. But what I'm hoping, though, is I'll be able to recruit a unit or 2, and then I'll pull the units out next turn. I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to convince him to let me reside for another turn so that I can just get some use out of these 2 settlements while I still own them. I've got a diplomat here.
Yes,
I'm not sure what to do with that guy. We'll just leave him here for now, because I can't actually do diplomacy with anyone, really, because I'm going to be at war. Perhaps I can ask the Portuguese for maps, because, technically we're not at war yet because he hasn't done anything hostile, but I know he will be once he takes these lands, and then we'll probably broker a peace whilst I am stuck in the north of Africa. But he has to know that this won't settle me. I'm not going to be complacent that I've been pushed out of Iberia, and he has to realize that. And now, what I think my major my only play is to try to get Spain to turn on Portugal, because potentially what's going to happen is Portugal is going to march in, take Cordoba, as well as Granada, and now they're going to have 3 regions, as well as the 4th up here to Spain's 2. Spain is going to have to rush these 2 provinces here just to equalize the power that Portugal has created. So I'm going to try to force a wedge between those 2, and let's see. Okay, so here's our message from Portugal. We're going to close it. We're going to have to send some messages to them. I don't really have to worry about Sicily for now, because if I remember correctly, no one has ports at the beginning of the campaign. We actually have to build ports, and it takes about 2 turns. So I have 2 turns at the very least of peace until he starts building a fleet, and I suppose I have to build a fleet in return to patrol my coasts, which are huge, so I'm at a massive disadvantage in that regard as well. Let's take a look at our finances. My finances aren't that great. I've got a projected profit of 1,600 gold coins, 1,600 florins or whatever, and I'm going to have to go through an immense amount of recruiting just to fend off all of these Catholics that are going to try to penetrate my lands, unfortunately. So we've got 4 units here. I've got 4 in Cordoba, 2 in Granada, and once I pull them back, I should have like half a stack here. And I may split that force a little bit and give them to Kiswar over here. Qasim, my mistake. Give a few of those units to Qasim so he can push over into Tunisia. I know there's a settlement over here somewhere that we can capture, and then once we've captured it, we can defend it from the Sicilians. Or potentially what I could do is build an army and just march it over there and just keep an eye out for the Sicilians and see what they plan to do. Maybe they try to capture the town and then I can just take it back. I don't know. I've got a spy in Marrakesh, or whatever this province is. Yeah, Marrakesh region. Oh, I see. It's just Granada region, Cordoba region. Okay, anyway, I'm going to move my spy up into Iberia so we can get a good idea of what the Portuguese and the Spanish are doing. I can see the Spanish are sending a princess, potentially for diplomacy with me. I'm not sure. I've got an imam, which let's see. Is Marrakesh purely Islam? Yep. And Algiers as well is mostly going to be Islamic. Yep. And I think Granada and Cordoba are perhaps half and half. Yeah, okay. So we're going to leave our imam outside of Cordoba for now. There we go. Just to combat those assholes religiously. If they take Cordoba, we can always just cause some trouble with religion. I've only got 7,000 gold coins, and first and foremost, I think I'm going to have to recruit some units. So in Marrakesh, all I've got available to me are militiamen, spear militia, and I'm looking at the spear militia, and they're not much different. The spear militia are 25 more gold per turn, whereas the town militia are cheaper, and they have less stats, of course. So we'll recruit some town militia here. 2 units we can recruit. There we go. Algiers we can recruit. Oh, some Sudanese javelin men. Interesting. They're not as cheap as I was hoping. Some Arab cavalry and desert cavalry, who are quite expensive. Maybe we'll do some Sudanese javelin men, as well as, what are these guys? Here's the thing, I've never really played with the Moors, so I'm going into this blind pretty much. So I don't really know what the difference between desert cavalry is. I think they are skirmishers. Yes, they're missile weapons. But I'll go with some Arab cavalry. Kasim, what is your bodyguard, my friend? Let's see. Oh my god. I'm not going to be able to see his bodyguard because he's in a castle, perhaps. There we go. His bodyguard is fucking cataphracts. Wonderful. Oh shit, look at this. We got some Bedouins and some Turkomans available for hire. Oh, we can immediately hire mercenaries. Oh shit. I suppose that's... If I was the Sicilians, that's what I would do. I would hire mercenary ships and just sail over immediately. I don't know when they're going to arrive, so I have to be aware of that. Let's see, can we recruit some more units in Granada? Just cavalry, which is not great. Cordoba we can recruit some militiamen, and we may as well do, as well as a merchant. Let's see. Yeah, we'll recruit a merchant next turn. Well, we might not be able to because Cordoba is going to be abandoned, so we'll recruit... No, we can't even recruit a merchant in... whatchamacallit? You know what, actually, I'm going to recruit 1 unit of town militia as well as a merchant. Hopefully I can get away with that. Maybe I can even use that as an excuse, potentially, to stay in Cordoba. I just want to recruit a merchant real quick, and then I'll vacate. I think that's my plan, actually. We're not going to build anything in Cordoba or Granada. In fact, I may as well just destroy all of the buildings. Let's see. Yeah, I'll destroy the town hall. I'll push taxes way up. I'll destroy the dirt roads. No, well, I can't destroy dirt roads, my mistake. I can destroy the grain exchange, which will recruit a merchant. I don't want to do that. Town guard, I don't want to do that. Stone wall. And the masjid, which is our Islamic building, which is going to be destroyed by the Portuguese once they move in. I'll just destroy it myself, take the gold. There we go. So once I vacate next turn, I'll destroy the town guard as well as the grain exchange. In Granada, we can't destroy anything because we don't have the opportunity. We'll do it next turn. I'll recruit some Arab cavalry. There we go. Just to fill up my roster a little bit, as well as some desert cav, I suppose. There we go. In Algiers and Marrakesh, we need to build something. And in Marrakesh, I think I can build, let's see, some land clearance, some dirt roads. I think that would be great as Marrakesh. See, that's the thing with my kingdom. It's extremely spread out. Africa and the Middle East in general, as well as Russia and the steppes. I suppose that's true to life, but there's nowhere near as many settlements in these regions as there are of Europe. I saw once like a heat map of all the settlements in the Medieval 2 map, and it's just like a huge amount of settlements in like England, France, Germany, Italy, and then it just kind of peters out once you get to like the east, etc. So I suppose when you're playing a faction that is, like, look at this, all of North Africa is pretty much relegated to 2 or 3 regions, which is not the greatest, because regions are the power base of Total War, basically. So that's another disadvantage I'm at. I don't mean to complain too much. If you're getting the idea that I'm complaining too much, I just want to give you guys an idea of where I'm at in my mind. I mean, it's going to be a tough campaign is all I'm saying. I got to be very smart here to try to survive as long as possible, because that's another rule. You cannot give up. You have to fight to the last settlement, the last man. And you can't be a poor sport about it, which I will refuse to be a poor sport, because I do feel, though, that times will be tough ahead. But anyway, like I said, our regions are very spread out, so I think a dirt road will alleviate that a little bit, and it will only take 1 turn to build, so that's an immediate boon. It will not increase our trade, apparently, because potentially we are not trading with anyone at the moment. Let's see, we got roads, Algiers, likewise, maybe we can build some roads. Yeah, let's just build roads, and likewise, and we can also upgrade a castle in Algiers immediately. Fucking wonderful. We can build a mustering hall, which will allow us to recruit fucking peasants, which is a little useless, but there we go. that's pretty much, well, did I recruit in Marrakesh? I did, and Algiers I did. Cordoba, Granada, the only thing left to do is diplomacy. So I'm going to open up my diplomacy screen. This is a really interesting part of the hot seats here. I've got Spain here. I can click to send a hot seat message, which I will do eventually. I will talk to, where is it? Portugal. Reino de Portugal y dos Algarves. So it looks like the Portuguese player has already changed his name from like just straight up Portugal to some like really crazy shit. Potentially this means like the Kingdom of Portugal. I don't know. I do not speak Portuguese. I can see Denmark has renamed their empire to the Nordic Germanic Empire. And that's just crazy. Maybe one day I will rename my empire as well. I think that, okay, well, Venezia changed their name as well. Repubblica di Venezia, as opposed to just Venice or whatever. I think Milan is the same. Yeah, so people are beginning to change their name immediately. The Papal States is not being played by anyone. Just to point that out. Okay, so I want to talk to France potentially. I don't know if France is on good terms with Spain, but they really ought not to be because, man, there's a lot of territory there they can just gobble up. Unfortunately, France is not going to push into the peninsula for a couple turns. You know, for many turns, I would say, because there's a lot of rebel regions around them in, like, Germany, Frisia, Brittany, that they can capture. And they probably would capture those before they push into the peninsula. That would just overextend themselves a little too much. So I can't really expect any help from them. Passively, I would say, for quite a while. But I suppose we'll have to talk to Portugal. We'll send them a message basically saying that we are going to leave Iberia next turn. How to phrase it? Fuck. Let's see. To the Lords of Portugal. The Caliph agrees to your demands to leave the... is that annoying if I read out what I'm typing? To leave the Iberian Peninsula on the condition that I am able to recruit a merchant from the markets of Cordoba. There we go. Before I vacate. There you go. Next turn I agreed to remove all military men from the regions of Cordoba and Granada. Fuck. I feel like I sound like such a fucking idiot. Cordoba and Granada. Remove all military men from the regions of Cordoba and Granada, wherein you are free to march in and capture the settlements. My men will cross the strait and return to Marrakesh. There we are. What else? Well, let's put a little pizzazz to this. The Lords of Portugal. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Can I go up here like that? Okay. Oh my God. What is happening? Yeah. Let's get a little what the hell am I trying to say? I don't know. Anyway, let's just go. Fuck. Oh, it's done it again. Markets of Cordoba. Can you not write up okay, that seems to have worked. Sorry, this is a little confusing. It seems you've left us with little choice. Ooh, choice. Choice. Your armies on our borders. What has happened? No. Oh my God. Something has happened. Our entire message has been destroyed. Fucking shit. Okay, let's try this again. To the... Let's go. Great and grand lords of the Kingdom of Portugal. Whether he takes that sarcastically or not, out of my hands. To the great and grand lords of the Kingdom of Portugal, it seems you've left us with little choice. Your armies... Oh my god, I cannot spell. See, I'm not worried about running out of time at this point, because there's literally nothing to do. But, I mean, if I had an empire the size of, like, the Byzantines, this message would just be full of mistakes, because I wouldn't have time to fix my mistakes. I'd be too busy doing absolutely everything else, if you know what I mean. Anyway, your armies on the borders of Cordoba... Send your message better than a diplomat ever could. There we go. The great Moorish Caliph agrees. Here we go. Agrees to your demands. On one condition. Here we go. We're just treading old territory again here. On one condition, that we may enlist a merchant from the markets of Cordoba before we vacate. Next turn, we will remove all of our military men from the regions of Cordoba and Granada, wherein you are free to march in and capture said regions. Oh my god, I'm sure this is quite boring, but I'm afraid I cannot edit this in the least. Usually I do quite a lot of editing, but in this case I cannot. So bear with me here. My men will cross the strait and return to Marrakesh. Okay, may the Peninsula grant you better fortune than I. Okay, so also quite interesting is that when you see this video, we, the players, will actually be on like the third or fourth turn. We're going to be at minimum, I believe, no, sorry, at maximum 3 turns behind. So once you see this, we are going to be on the fourth turn. You could, like, if I did this video, I could potentially just release it tomorrow, but that would give Portugal and Spain and the Sicilians an idea of what I'm doing. So there's this kind of delayed response there. So the Portuguese, for example, are not going to know what I am doing on turn 1 until we're on turn 4, if you know what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm not really explaining myself very well, but nevertheless, we are going to send this message. Shazam. Okay, we sent a message to Portugal, and now I think it's time to send a message to Spain. Okay, here we go. Once again, fuck, to the great and grand lords of the Kingdom of Spain. See, we're going to try to play the Spanish off the Portuguese here. The Portuguese are going to assume control of 4 regions, and I don't know if the Spanish are even aware of this. Why would the Portuguese send me a message from the sidelines if Spain and Portugal have an agreement to push me out of the peninsula? And we can see that Spain and Portugal have not even brokered an alliance yet. Potentially that means that their agents have not been able to reach each other, but I'm not sure. To the great and grand lords of the Kingdom of Spain. So we're going to assume that Spain has no idea that Portugal is pushing me out. Are your people aware of the, I don't want to say treachery, diplomacy, played, sought, rot. There we go. By the how do you spell that? Fuck. Portuguese? I think it's just Portuguese. Oh, there's too many E's. Ha! Hold on. I cannot spell Portuguese. Okay, never mind. Okay, we'll just wing it. Portuguese to the west. They've come to my courts offering peace, provided that I vacate my holdings in the Peninsula. Oh my god. Once again, shit is fucking up. Let's just leave it. Vacate my holdings in the Peninsula. I've no choice but to accept, but I worry that Portugal plays you a common fool once they march into Cordoba and Granada. Portugal will hold more territory than even you. Portugal will hold more territory than even you. I implore you, do not let the oh my god, once again, Portuguese. Do not let the Portuguese play me the Muslim villain when in the shadows they seek to secure the Peninsula for themselves. It is only a matter of time until you are at each other's throats. And the Portuguese are already mightier than you. Oh my word. This is quite a good message. Fuck. I feel as if I'm writing this shit. I'm gonna have to seal it with a wax stamp, much like this here, and then I'm going to send it away. Take it to the Spanish. I don't know what the Moors actually sound like. I apologize. I can't even edit out that voice. And the Portuguese are already mightier than you. We must work to... I suggest you rethink your position in this matter. Very general. Okay, how do we sign off? 1,000 greetings, 1,000, I don't know, 1,000 greetings from the mighty Caliph. So I'm just rereading my message. It's quite good. My god. Weaving this web of diplomacy. How do I sign off here? Oh my god, I cannot think of a single thing. I suggest you rethink your position in this matter. 1,000 blessings upon you. There we go. 1,000 blessings upon you. There we go. Send. That sounds Moorish enough, I suppose. Okay, that's pretty much all we can do this turn. We've got 4,400 gold coins in our coffers, and we are only going to receive a few thousand, well, a few hundred gold coins potentially. Projected treasury total is 6,400. I don't believe that for a single fucking second. But there we go. We are immediately building stuff in Marrakesh, Algiers. When we come back next turn, we will tear down the remainder of the shit in Cordoba and Granada and then vacate the territory. I'm actually going to push the taxes very high in Cordoba. There we go. And Granada, can we... No, it's a castle. Of course, we can't push the taxes any higher. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Check the rules below if you haven't already, just to get an idea of what's going on. My spy is moving. I'm just going to leave this captain here, just in case the Portuguese try to come south. I don't even know. Well, the men from Cordoba and Granada will meet this army. And then from there, we can decide where to move the units. Marrakesh, Algiers, etc. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching this hot seat. I may get knocked out very early, potentially, unless I'm incredibly smart, which, I don't know. I could be, I could not be. Actually, I suppose we have a diplomat here. We should talk to the Portuguese. Can we get some map information, potentially? There we go. Okay, well, I suppose once the Portuguese take Cordoba and Granada, we can trade with them. I would really like to send a diplomat over to the Turks and the Egyptians. I haven't really talked to them that much, if at all, and we can get some trade going with them, as they are my only Muslim brothers. But anyway, I've said goodbye like 3 or 4 million fucking times now. Look at this. We got the Pillars of Hercules, the fucking Rock of Gibraltar, or whatever it is. Okay, I'm signing off. This is ridiculous. That is so many fucking... so many signs off. Okay, we have to actually end the turn on video. Here we go. Blam! There we go. Next turn it is the Turks. And now we can just... save the game as GCT1 Turks. There we go. I think that's how that works. And there we go. I can pass this save on to the Turkish player. And life is good. Okay, everyone. I'll see you next video. I don't think the next video is going to be out for fucking months, but we'll never know. I'll see you later.